solutions to real problems, real shit that real people deal with. Things that will help you get to the ROI, that is return on investment in your life. So, yesterday, I was yesterday years old when I found out that mountains like the Rockies, the Appalachians, the Alps, that mountains have roots. Now, this was really, really profound to me for a lot of reasons because you think of living things having roots. You don't really think of inanimate things having roots, but here we are. And I looked this up that there are indeed roots in the mantle of the earth, and they have a specific function. Watch this. The roots of mountains keep erosion of the mountain ranges down. Now, watch this. Every mountain has a root, but all of the roots of every mountain are connected. This is how you're able to differentiate mountain ranges, because there may be two interconnected ranges that seem interconnected from the surface, but beneath they don't share a common root system. Now, why is all of this important? Because knowing your roots is essential to your success. Let me tell you something, that if you want to have long, beautiful hair, that you need strong roots. If you don't have strong roots, you won't have strong hair, and your hair will not grow in the way that you want it to. But if you have great roots, you'll have great hair. Watch this. Great roots produce great fruit. If the roots of a plant are bad, then whatever fruit comes from that tree is also going to be bad. Don't believe me? Watch this. There are specific diseases that attack plants not at the stems or the leaves, but at the root. And by destroying the root, these bacteria, these viruses, they kill the plant and keep it from reproducing. Not just bearing fruit, but or not just even blooming, but to keep it from reproducing ever, right? So what happens is that if the root is bad, you're unable to reproduce what you are designed to reproduce. This is a really key thing, because when you think of plants, plants have roots in soil. Mountains have roots in the earth, in the mantle of the earth. People have roots, even though we are mobile living things. We're not like plants where we have roots in the ground, but we develop roots with other people, other places, other circumstances and situations. And so again, if the root is not good, the fruit will be bad. This is why a lot of people, they say, well, such and such happened to me when I was a kid, but I turned out okay. And the reality is that maybe you didn't turn out okay. Maybe you were fucked up by what happened to you in your past. But you can address the root to change the fruit and thus change the outcome. You could change your circumstances. You can change your outcomes. You could change your destiny by addressing your roots. Also, it's important that you have a good root system. One of the things that I learned is that there's this thing called mycelium. And mycelium is a fungus that basically interconnects virtually all the plants in a landmass. Think of it as the internet for plants. Not kidding. I mean, look this up. Mycelium. The mycelium is a fungus that allows plants to connect with each other. It's a way that plants find like plants in the network. They're able to nourish each other and help sustain each other. They're also able to detect illnesses among others. This is really powerful stuff. So when you have a strong mycelium, the mycelium helps the plants to flourish among themselves. But there are also bacteria and viruses that attack plants at the root, and they work in a similar network. This is how things like Dutch elm disease spread, and this was a big thing like in Michigan when I was growing up. All the elm trees were dying, and they wound up having to cut them all down. And this changed the whole landscape of Detroit because a lot of the trees in the city were elm trees. But they cut them out because the root had produced this blight in the tree that was highly contagious. And not only would it damage the elm trees, but it had the ability to impact oak and maple trees as well. So the city made a decision to cut down all the elm trees. Now, if you have human beings, again, we don't have roots in the ground like plants do, but we have roots in ourselves. We're rooted and grounded in ourselves. What we believe in, our core values, what we know, our knowledge, what we associate with, where we're from. All of these things are individual roots, but then we also have networks of roots because we're connected to like-minded or affiliated people. In other words, family, friends, people from a specific geographical location. So these are all part of our root system. And this is why understanding your root is important, because if you are connected to the wrong roots, it will destroy whatever fruit that you're trying to produce. You need to make sure that you're connected with people who are nourishing, who are encouraging, who are pouring into your life, that they are nourishing you, that they are sustaining you. These are the kinds of people that you need in your root system. And if you don't have those, your fruit will be damaged. Now, I said something else too in the title to this, or in the caption, that I wanted to talk about root cause analysis. And this is another part where if you don't understand your roots, you can't properly analyze, detect, and remedy a problem. So root cause analysis is looking at a problem and saying, okay, why did this occur? We understand that it occurred, and we propose or prescribe a remedy for it, but we don't understand why it happened in the first place. And this is dangerous because you go in and you fix a problem. You see the problem, you detect it, you deal with it. Problem solved, right? Except if you don't do appropriate root cause analysis, then what happens is that the problem that plagued you before will plague you again. And chances are, if it plagued you before, when it plagues you again, it's going to be even worse. And that's why root cause analysis is so important. Getting to the root of the problem, finding out what was it that caused the problem, what were the mitigating circumstances around this problem, what contributing factors were there to this problem. And you have to take time to understand this. But watch, if you understand your root system, your individual root in yourself, and understand how that connects with others and produces your root system, then when problems come, it's easy to go to the root, look at the cause, and prescribe an analysis and a remedy. And this is really, really important, because if you are not looking at your root system, I mean, this requires looking at yourself, first of all, self-analysis, self-awareness, self-inventory, getting to know you. You are the most important person that you're ever going to affiliate with, do business with, or have a relationship with. So that's number one. The second thing is that you have to look at your root relative to the roots of others who are connected to you, and make sure that you are all connected to the same vine. Because your vine is your vibe. If your vine is right, your vibe will be right. And if your vibe is right, the people who you associate with, the people who you spend the most time with, the people who are connected to you, that pour into your life, you'll understand this. And also, you'll be able to detect what it is that they are bringing into your life. See, here's another thing too, that you have to look at your root system from a standpoint of threat detection. Because sometimes people come guised as friends, come guised as allies, but they're really enemies. And the enemy that you have to worry about is not the one that's on the full frontal attack. that's bringing it to you like this, that's not the person you have to be afraid of. The one you have to really be afraid of is the person who comes bearing gifts, or someone who comes looking like they're bringing something to the table, but they're actually not. They're actually doing something to take from you, to detract from you. And without understanding what is the underlying mechanism of your root, you won't be able to detect that. And you absolutely have to do this because, again, not everyone who's among you is with you. There are many people that stand in your midst and they look like somebody that's there to help, but they're not. And you have to be aware of that. But understanding your root in yourself, number one, understanding your root in others, and understanding how all of your root systems are interconnected, that when you get this, when you understand this, this is a game changer. This will absolutely, positively change your life. So get to the root of the matter. Find out what your root is in you. Find out how your roots connect to others, how your root system looks, what root cause analysis is, how to do threat detection and remediation from your root system. And also that when you're dealing with things from the root, you're dealing with things from the inside and not externally. Because an external thing is just a band-aid. But once you solve from within, you're providing a lasting solution to whatever it is that you're faced with. That's what I have for you today. I hope that was encouraging. Stay tuned coming this week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. I will resume my mastermind, and this is going to be understanding your why, your core value system. Because once you understand yourself, which was my previous mastermind, then you can start building on that, because understanding self is the foundation for everything else. And the next thing that you want to work on is your why. Because if you don't have a good why, your what, where, how, and when won't matter. But if you get your why right, I promise you that you will see absolutely lasting, positive, impactful change in your life. So stay tuned for that. And thank you for attending my TED Talk. Thank you for growing with me in real time. And until the next time, may you be happy, may you be well, and may you be filled with peace.